Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Whoa, had a bit of a busy morning trying to get outside and enjoy some fresh air. Beatrice is enjoying watching the construction in our neighborhood. So we went out for a walk and took a little bit longer getting back. So thank you so much for your patience. I am here with the Go Viral Live series. This series is live on Instagram, but also exists on YouTube. So you can find my YouTube channel, Lindsay Does Stick, under Lindsay Does, or Civilian Education, Civilian Beauty Grooming Education, Civilian Education. I'm sorry, I'm not recalling that right now. But anyway, happy Monday. So I took the weekend off to spend some time with my family. We also spent some time outside hiking in the woods, obviously staying away from people and not touching things. But it just felt really nice to get outside, especially here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The weather has really not been good. It's been dreary and there hasn't been sunshine in a few days really, and cold, and this weekend it was quite rainy, so it felt really great to at least get outside. And even when it doesn't feel like the most inviting weather, I think it's really fun and feels amazing to go outside and appreciate the weather that we do have. So anyway, I hope that you are finding ways to cope with quarantine and feeling okay. One way that we can do that is practicing our work and our craft, which is what we're going to do this morning. So a couple things in reference to the last video. I said in the last video I would post a refinement video. I chose not to. I took a picture of the shag as it was, which will be going up today. I thought it looked great. I want to take more time with that refinement video and refining the outline of a shag because I think it's really important. And I wanted to make sure that I had length for the rest of the haircuts, since we're doing all of these haircuts on one mannequin. And today we're going to be doing a much different technique, similar sectioning pattern. So look for that video down the road once the Go Viral series is done and we start doing some other things on how to refine the outline, the front outline of a shag. And I'm going to also be making some other refinement videos, as well as some consultation and how to deal with your business after you've been in quarantine. Okay, so that said, today we're going to be doing the short shag. I need a little, not sure that's really gonna make a difference, but so this is a really great haircut. I'm really excited to share with you. It is very fast. It's a wet cutting technique as well. Hey, good morning, Sarah. How are you? Give a little wave. It's can go in so fast. Again, a lot of these haircuts are focusing on minimal refinement because when we're in the salon, we don't really have time to do a wet cut and then do a refinement phase. To be able to do both of those things, I think you need to be scheduling your haircut at an hour if you're doing a change. So maintaining these looks would maybe be a different step-by-step than what we're doing today. So this is initially putting in the look. So we're gonna be using the same sectioning pattern that we've been using. I've said that from the beginning, so I'm not gonna put a diagram up. I will work on getting handouts for those once I'm done shooting the videos. And I can figure out how to do that even if they're hand-drawn, and take pictures of them. So that will be coming. So it's going to use the same sectioning pattern that we used in the shag, but we're gonna approach the hair cutting much, much differently, which I think is gonna be fun. So it's gonna be more of a visual technique. So I've got my Viola here. She is ready to go. Okay. So here she is. And we're gonna start the same way we've started. We're gonna put that T-shaped section in. So we're gonna go from the nose all the way down to the nape. so that we can really start to understand the bone structure of our guests as we're starting to review some of these things. I have to tell you, it's really hard not to ask questions and say, why are we doing this? But I'm not going to get an answer, which, you know, oftentimes in class I don't get an answer either. Okay, so there we go. We've got nose to nape in a nice section. I'm really noticing the bone structure here. Okay, so this shag is starting to get really short. What you want to be thinking about, so we know every time we put this haircut in, the ear to ear section is a big piece because we're cutting sort of these round or square shapes. We can't rely on maintaining extra length through the front because we're going to be taking that away. So what you need to decide when you put this in is, do you want it to have more of a bob-like appearance and feel more like a long or medium, longer short or medium length haircut through the front? Or do you want it to have that grown out pixie feel? So if you want it to be a little bit longer through the front and have more of a bob feel, you definitely want to compensate for all of the hairline here. So be thinking again, like we did with our shag, about moving it back so that you get some of the hair that wants to come through the back area, maintaining some of that length, okay? So that you can keep and maintain that length throughout the front. So this haircut's not going to be sitting on the shoulder. We're going to be taking it up above the neck. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna separate this for now so that you can see. Okay, and now I'm turning. And again, I've said this before, this might be a little bit different on this side because the growth pattern might be different. I feel like the light is really hard today. So I'll turn. Is that better? Let me know. So it's not just the sectioning that's going to play out the length through the front. It's more so going to be your over direction. But you could just say that the sectioning is going to reinforce or help you achieve your desired results, right? Okay, so this is a shag. So the triangle through the front is going to be narrow at the back and wide through the front area because we're going to be looking to achieve what feels like a fringe. And I will tell you, the shorter you want this to go, the wider you want to make this triangle because it can get way too long and way too heavy. This, most of the time, will really feel like a pixie, a grown-out pixie in a great way. I mean, grown-out pixies are not traditionally thought of as very pretty haircuts, but I love that sort of loose, natural texture you get around the face, around the bones, around the eyes, especially when someone has a little bit of curl. So I am coming below the recession, and the peak of the triangle is still wide through the back. Can you see? Below the recession and the peak of the triangle. Let me get this in and I'll show you. Is quite wide through the back. Can you see? There we go. Okay, so we will twist that up and away. Again, if you're trying to follow along with a mannequin, I say don't. Take notes right now and open the video back up on YouTube later and try and cut it, checking in on the video where you have questions. Okay, so here's our center back where we put in the section. So we're just going to take, again, wide at the top, narrow through the back in this triangle. And this is also quite big. There we go. So this haircut is going to be much more visual. I love visual haircutting. I think it's fun. I think it's a way to break up work in the salon. And I think it works best for me when I put strong sections in the haircut. There's the back triangle, okay? Because I can still then achieve balance while cutting with more of a freehand technique, because I don't want the haircut to be completely imbalanced. And we've all been in that position where you decide to do a bunch of refinement at the end, or you're doing a freehand haircut and you start kind of feeling the weight and the weight's not even. So you go to the heavy side and now the heavy sides become the light side. So now you go to the other side and now it's too light. And before you know it, they really just don't have any hair left. And there's no real integrity to the haircut. So visual cutting is a great technique. I love taking a softer approach. You can use a razor to do some visual cutting. I love all of that, but I like sections to help me understand where I am to create the same weight balance from side to side. Okay, but that said, as we're creating them, they just don't really need to be perfect. So as we've talked about many times in this video, I like sectioning. It gives me a time to plan my work when I'm in the salon. But we don't need to overthink. You're looking at those major bones. Are you hitting in the right spot? Are you hitting at the center? That's why that initial sectioning really helps me kind of get going. So here we go. All right, so we're gonna start through the back and we're gonna use a twist cutting technique, and we're gonna follow exactly the same sections that we did on Friday. Okay, so when it comes to visual cutting, texturizing, anything like that, there is a sort of a trick, if you will. So if I've got my section pulled out, this is a really small section, but I just want to make sure you can see it. I'm going to pull it all the way out, and then I'm going to visually in my mind divide it into thirds. 1, 2, and then the last section is 3. The rule generally, so that you're not causing severe damage to the hair, that you're not creating something that has absolutely no structure, a nice rule to follow is to divide the hair in 3 and never encroach on that top third, okay? So whether we're texturizing or as a general rule. Now there are other important elements to texturizing or using those approaches where oftentimes I wouldn't even come close to that top third section. But when we're taking a visual and really aggressive approach like we're going to today, we want some boundaries. We just don't want the train to get too far off the rails. So I like that rule, okay? I'm gonna tilt her away just a little bit so that I can get in. And I want this to be very layered. I want to see a lot of texture. So I'm going to be elevating at 90 degrees. So those same rules still apply. Okay. So I want to see movement and texture. Now I'm going to start twisting the hair. Give it about 3 twists. Point the scissors towards my belly so that I'm removing length. If I want to not remove length and just remove weight, I'm going to point them, scoop them back up more towards my chest. If I'm removing length, they're going to be more of that 45 degree, okay? So there we go, removing length. All right, we are going to be over directing, and you do not pull hair from the previous section. This is visual. So you just want to remember that rule of thirds and cut at the same angle. Section 3, comes back, okay, towards me. So if you look right here, I'm pulling back. Turn my body this way so that you can see. There we go. So can you see I'm pulling back towards me? I'm standing or stood at the center back and keeping that diagonal approach with my shears, 3 turns. Okay? All right, let me see where we are at. So this is probably a little bit long from where I like this look to live for me, but we're doing one more medium length haircut tomorrow. I don't want to take too much length off my mannequin for this, so we're gonna let this be just a skosh longer than we would normally have it. Okay, so I turn towards the center on my left side. So on my right side, I'm also going to turn towards the center. I'm gonna point my fingertips down. I'm gonna elevate the hair at 90 degrees, and then I'm gonna turn 3 times. Make sure you get all of the hair in the turn. So because I already have a shag in here, this haircut is already really layered. So it's a little bit hard for me to grab all the hair. So I don't grab the section from before, I'm pulling straight back. If something in the hairline doesn't get cut, I don't worry too much about that. Like these long pieces, I can just go in and take those off at the end. Towards the center, 3 turns. Okay, and you can check for balance, give a little tension, and kind of give a little pull, and you can see you're starting to get that looseness, that nice shape. We're gonna do a little additional cutting in here because it gets too heavy in the mastoid because we use that over direction, but we'll be doing that in a few minutes. So now I am going to come through the side. And because we're doing another medium length haircut tomorrow, and just for some other reasons, we're gonna leave this, the longer version, a little bit longer through the front. So we're gonna start here. Now, as you can see, this section gets quite high, so I need to drop her down, and I'm going to be turning away from the face. Now, you can alternate your turns. You can turn everything towards the face, depending on the curl pattern and all sorts of things. Okay. So same approach. See if I can get it where you can see me. So I'm going to turn everything away from the face. I'm elevating. Take this section away from the face. Elevate, turn. Now we divide this into thirds. I'm going to be a little bit further away here because I have more length through the front, which is okay. Okay, generally as I'm cutting this, I do not do a lot of combing. I don't do a lot of shaking. I want the hair to be, as it dries, to be starting to curl up and shrink up. You do need to maintain moisture while you're doing the twist cutting technique. So if the hair is getting too dry, then you need to re-wet it. But I don't do a lot of brushing and combing. There's really not much for me to cross-check. I'm not cutting with a guideline other than the visible one. So I just need to look with my eyes as it falls into natural fall and see, is that really what I'm going for? So it's still a little bit shorter through here, a little bit longer through the back, which is kind of the effect of the shag. But we've maintained some length here. We haven't cut all that away completely. Okay, so this side, if you remember, we turned away from the face on the other side. So we're gonna do the same thing here. Elevating to that high peak, pulling down. Now you would never want to point your shears straight down because you'll be taking too much length if you do that. And again, away from the face with a little bit of over direction. Okay. Yeah, as I suspected, this side got a little too long. Okay. And again, it's not going to be exactly the same, but we are about on the right track. Okay, so you can shake that out. Start to see that coming together. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this back to that side over here that I said there was a little bit too much weight. Let's see if I step across, and I'm gonna bring that towards the ear, and I'm also going to twist it the opposite direction. So now I'm twisting it towards the face. I'm standing off to the side. I'm still pointing my fingers at a diagonal. It's about 2 sections. And I'm taking out that extra weight in there. Okay? Other side. We're twisting towards the face. Now, I would normally be stood right in front, but I'm standing off to the side so that hopefully you can see. Towards the face, a little bit of over direction towards the ear, and taking it off. And give a little shake. You can see there's a little bit more length on one side than the other. All of that, as I said before, will get cleaned up. So we have this nice short shape through the bottom. And now you can do one of 2 approaches up here. You can leave the top longer and let it kind of overhang the short shape, or you can also take that aggressively short. We're gonna go kind of somewhere in between because we've already cut this top to be a shag, so I want to show you how to remove a little bit of length, but again, I don't want it to be getting too short because we're going to be doing some other haircuts on here as well. So we're gonna take through the top, twist, and we're gonna work our shears upwards in still that diagonal fashion, okay? So through the top, I like to twist opposite directions. So I twisted towards my right on that side. On this side, I'm gonna twist towards my left. 3 twists is great. I'm losing and dropping some hair out because this is already so short. This one is gonna be towards the center, and I'm elevating the hair straight up, cutting towards the face at a little bit of a diagonal. Same through this side. So I'm gonna be twisting towards the center on this side. 3 turns, straight up, and away on this side. Okay. And that is a whole nother lesson on twisting and how to be moving your shear. So I can put that on my list. So don't try this on a client if you're comfortable cutting that way. We're gonna be elevating this straight up, twisting again. And I'm really trying to point my scissors, twisting opposite directions, again in that diagonal. Can you see it's kind of coming away that way? Lots and lots of tension when you're twist cutting. Lots and lots of tension. And last but not least, we can take this all in one big section and go from underneath. I don't have a lot to remove there because we already did that in the last shag. So now I would have my guest just shake, 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 shake. Start to put a little bit of product in. She actually already has some product in her hair. And while it is wet, all I am going to do is really take a look at my outline and where do I want to go back in with the twist effect. So you can see here, it's a little bit longer. So I want to kind of take that little piece out. There will be some long bits. I will definitely have to post a refinement video with this haircut. So I'm not, again, doing too much while it's wet. I'm just looking for these extraordinarily long pieces. Whatever way they're turning, I'm turning them in that same direction and kind of taking some of that out. Okay, and then through the back, you kind of have like, you know, that mullet-esque, which always happens on the mannequins, and sometimes you don't get that on the guest. So again, you have to mirror the technique. You cannot just go through with a horizontal scissor. Hi, Kathy, good morning. With a horizontal scissor and take that off. It's gonna mark the haircut. This haircut is supposed to feel very loose, very free. So I'm gonna go through and those extra length pieces, I'm using way more of a downward approach, but I'm still opening and closing my scissor to make sure that it's sliding down nicely. And I'm standing in the center back. So now I've got that length off. All right. And this is pretty much where we stop and start to dry. You can see you can start to you're gonna wanna start to play right away because it goes in super beautiful, super fun. But I would say just, you know, be a little bit cautious at this phase. If there's anything, like you said, you know you wanna take it out while it's wet using the twisting technique. And then once it's curled up and dried, you might be surprised in how the hair starts to take on more texture, more shape. So you really do want to do a little bit of dry cutting. Even though I know on textured shapes, dry cutting can be a little bit dangerous because then they can't walk out. You know, you can make the hair fuzzy with dry cutting. With the right products, I feel like I can come back from that. So I'll use a lot of times a spray-on conditioner or something like that at the end. Or worst case scenario, I take them back to the shampoo bowl, give them a quick rinse and put them back under the hood dryer. You know, you really want to make sure that the hair looks beautiful in its dry state. And so it's important sometimes to see it all styled out and see where things maybe just aren't living the way that you thought that they might, especially when you're putting something in for the first time. Okay, so it's 11. I got this done in about a half an hour, which I'm excited. It's a very, very fast haircut. I'm so excited to share it with you. It's something I use all the time in the salon. So I call this the short shag. It is on my YouTube page. The full video will be there. Go back, try it out, send me some feedback. Let me know what you think. If you put it on a mannequin or a model, I'd love to see images. Stay connected to me, to others. Take care of yourselves. And if you like this work, please, please share it. I will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to start getting into what is traditionally known as some men's hair cutting techniques. So it can go either way, but we're going to be doing some conventional cutting with a medium length haircut like this, and then 2 fades, one of them a bald fade. So I'm so excited to get into that. I love that work as well. Thanks so much for joining me. Time is our most precious gift, even now in quarantine. I know there's so many other things that you can be doing. Sarah, I know you can be working on your motorcycle. So I really appreciate your time. Take care of yourself, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.